Have you ever been playing Slay the Spire and thought, man, I really wish this was an RTS game? No. No, you haven't. But that's this game. Necronator Dead Wrong is an early access lane and card-based RTS game somewhat similar to Clash Royale or Minion Masters, but this one is a single-player roguelite. I really shouldn't be surprised at this point. There's not much story at the moment, you're just the undead and you're taking over the world as an army of darkness. So let's hop right into the... When you start a new game, you pick a commander, a starting army, and a starting relic. Then you're thrust to the bottom of an eerily familiar looking type of map where you move from node to node like your name is Prim, encountering various events. Castles are fights where you fight, but not like castle fight. Man, I wish. Question marks are little choose-your-own-adventure text-based type encounters where you can lose, get, or trade stuff. Money bags are shops where you can buy cards, and campfires are resting spots where you can either restore health on your base or upgrade a card. In battles, you got a base, and the enemy got a base. And some number of towers. Completely unfair. If your base dies, that's it. Run over. You gotta start back at square one. You don't die by playing cards. For example, I play
my pot of greed. This lets me draw.
Cards come in 3 varieties: squads, spells, and utility. Squads are all your dudes. You got cheap dudes, expensive dudes, ranged dudes, dudes with abilities, dudes that explode, but nothing too crazy. Squads always spawn at your base and walk towards the enemy base. After the first couple of nodes, maps start having 2 lanes, and you can redirect units by using a sign on the map. It has a short cooldown though. I'm too powerful to use consistently. Spells can be used whenever and wherever. Zap your enemies, send your dudes into a bloodlust. Utility cards are usually more meta, like cards in your hand get 50% more health or mana regens faster for the rest of combat. Speaking of mana regen, whenever you beat up a tower, you haunt it and start producing more mana. It'll also shoot arrows at enemies. And they also can't take it back, so you can just forget about it once you take it. After surviving combat, you can choose between 3 cards as a reward, or you can turn it into gold. I mean souls, which you also get for winning. Some of the combats are like bosses or something. They don't really do anything different though, but they have an intro ditty with this cold dude, and when you beat him, you get a relic, which are passive permanent bonuses to all your dudes. They can be purely beneficial, or they can be more beneficial but with a trade-off. You can also turn these into money instead of taking them. I wish I could just instantly turn stuff I didn't want into money. Oh, anyways. So I like the idea of this game, and I think updates will definitely do it good, but it's really early access. There's just not much content here, and some of the existing stuff isn't well documented or user-friendly. For instance, when you choose a card to upgrade, you cannot back out of it once you choose that card. You have to upgrade that card now. I think this is done because there's multiple upgrades for every card, but you can only choose between 2. So this only makes the fact that you can't back out of it more frustrating, because you can be like, alright, I'm gonna upgrade my skeletons into elite skeletons. But then elite skeletons aren't even an option and you're stuck with cheapo skeletons. That and some of the stats either don't show up or are just missing. One run I got some explosive archers, but the stats didn't say they did anything different. Come game time I figure out they have an explosive area attack now. That would have been nice to know. Another run I had some demon fiends that upgraded into unstable demon fiends, and their damage said it went from 10 to 12 to 40 to 60? I think they were supposed to explode or something. Yes they were. This was fixed because they released a patch mid-video creation for me. The Yeet and Delete update. Oh boy. Errors aside, a lot of time in battle for me was just spent waiting on mana. Since squads only appear at the base and you can't order them to stop, you want to try to save up and get as many of them as possible so they just clump up into a big death ball. Even doing different builds, I found myself just waiting and then summoning the big death ball and rolling over everything in 3 seconds because I don't think the AI knows how to react to it. Well, after the update, they added these Humi guys that have AoE snowballs. I don't know how to deal with this. Single units with a lot of HP are really expensive. Spells don't do that much damage to completely take them out. What do? Now I'm the one that doesn't know how to handle it. The variety is really low right now. There's no different factions and there's only one commander right now. You're always some skeletons and orcs and the odd demon against dudes. And sheep. And a couple elves. But mostly dudes and sheep. The enemies don't use spells or utility cards, I don't think. They just send random units at you on a random lane. Which is another mechanic I think could use more fleshing out. And I'm not talking about skeletons. I just never swapped lanes. Both lanes were the same. There's no defensive structures that players or enemies can put down. So other than staving off incoming attacks, what's the point? And also, why does the enemy get towers and not me? Why can't we fight over each other's towers? I also think it's pretty bold to steal so many things from Slay the Spire. You could say that it was heavily inspired. But at the same time, Slay the Spire is really good, and most of it works fairly well here. I like the multi-upgrade system other than the not being able to back out of it bit. The only borrowed mechanic I'm not sure about is resting. In Slay the Spire, a lot of times you'll take a little bit of damage over the combats, at least if you're bad like me, and you eventually want to heal up, and you can. In Necronator, though, you can go the whole game without ever getting touched. If my base ever got damaged, it was either because I fell asleep waiting for my mana to max out, or because I got completely bonked and I was gonna lose the whole game. There was basically no in between. Also, there was no way of getting rid of cards you didn't want anymore like in Slay the Spire, but in the Yeet and Delete update, they added it to campfires and shops. Cool. Okay, I think I'm done complaining and armchair game deving or whatever you want to call this. Wait, no. Make it like Castle Fight. Overall, I'd probably give this a pass for now, but you might want to keep your eye on it. I think it could get good after a few updates. The devs have a roadmap out and it looks kind of interesting. I want to see what environmental and weather effects end up being. There just really needs to be something that makes the game more interesting in my opinion, especially during the early game where it's just waiting for you to max your mana out as long as you can before the enemy sends something at you. You can get this game on Steam for $20 or your regional equivalent. I got about 3 hours out of it before I felt like I saw most of what there was to see and did most of what there was to do. Definitely needs more content for that price, but hey, that's all I got. If you liked that video, smash like and subscribe and leave a comment hailing me as the Roguelite Reviewer Man. Northern Lion, I'm coming for your spot as the Roguelite guy, I guess. But I'm not playing 1,000 episodes of Binding of Isaac, so never mind. 2 Lainz, out.